Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Thursday morning, 11:30. So that must be Lane County Wellness Corner. Welcome. My name is Jed Ray. I'm the host of Lane County Wellness Corner, a podcast representing Lane County Wellness Consortium. Lane County Wellness Consortium has been formed exclusively to bring dedicated professionals from all fields of the wellness together with a common goal to increase and perpetuate the opportunity to directly and indirectly serve Lane County, Oregon's community with qualified, innovative professionals dedicated to promoting the healthy centered mental health and physical lifestyle for an ever evolving landscape of the human wellness field. We do that on a weekly basis with our Lane County Wellness Corner, the podcast that happens every Thursday. This podcast is where we interview and chat with local Lane County, Oregon wellness professionals. This 1 hour weekly show has several goals in mind, introducing you to local practitioners and organizations, learn about their specialties and their services, what types of clients they work with and serve, and most importantly, how long it takes to get an appointment. This is a critical component to the consortium. The demand on services has never been so high, and in many cases, clients can't get the help they need when they need it. So tune in, learn what you may not know about the wellness field in Lane County, and the latest updates on finding the right professional and organization to meet your needs. Today, we are just so excited. I am. I love it when I get to interact with people that, like last week, would probably say that that's not mainstream. And our guest today is also another pioneer and someone who I have come to know is very dedicated to what she does. Uh, Let me do one thing first. Pull this over here. Uh, Alexandra Callner is a certified consultant hypnotist with over 2 decades of wellness in the wellness industry. She works with high functioning people, executives, entrepreneurs, athletes, and veterans who look completely fine on the outside while quietly falling apart on the inside. They've they have a tiered therapy. They've tried all apps. They're still white knuckling it. Alexandra gets into actual sources of the problem, the subconscious mind, trained directly under Dr. Shad, I'm probably getting it wrong, Helmstetter, a brain scientist and best-selling author of What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. She brings a neuroscience-informed approach to changing work that goes well beyond relaxation and positive thinking. Certified by the National Guild of Hypnosis and HypnoFit. That's a new word for me. I did not know what that meant. From Australia. Her work pulls from hypnotherapy, NLP, transcendental meditation, and yoga to treat the whole person. Her signature program is a 2 month of transformation, helps clients release trauma, dismantling the belief system that drives their anxiety, and finally transform that a level they know they know that they were capable of. The results tend to surprise people. The veteran who hadn't left his home in 3 years is now living his best life, and a business owner who is sitting in the parking lot having a panic attack has expanded her business to another building next door. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Alex Callner. Are you
Hello.
there?
Hi.
Hello. Well,
Morning.
Um, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here too. This should be fun.
Yes. So let me put up some contact information. Oh, I did forget one thing in my intro. If you're watching on YouTube, click that like button, thumbs up, and subscribe so that you'll be notified when when we have a show. So anyway, I forgot to do that in my intro. So you go by Alex. Is
Yeah,
that
either Alexandra.
okay? Wonderful. What a special treat meeting you. I am so grateful you're here. We're going to learn a lot about hypnotherapy and being a hypnotist and the clients that you work with. It's quite exciting.
It is a fascinating field, and it's one that a lot of people, they're in hypnosis constantly all day long, and people don't realize it. So it's exciting to be able to share with people because they have no idea what it really is.
Well, explain what you just meant by that. They're in hypnosis all day long. What does that mean?
Well, have you ever been driving to a familiar place, a place you've gone to, and all of a sudden you get there and you're like, oh
How did I
man,
get
I
here?
don't
Yeah.
even remember how I got here. You were not passed out at the wheel. If a car had swerved into your lane, you would have been able to handle it. If a dog had run out, you were there. You were in driving hypnosis, and what that means is your thinking analytical mind was out of the way. You were daydreaming, thinking about something. Your subconscious mind was pushing the pedals, watching everything around you, checking the rear view. You didn't even know you were doing it because our subconscious controls more than 77% of what we do.
Man,
And
it's interesting that you say that because, yes, I have to admit, I have driven from home to in when I was working back in the day, and I got to my destination and kind of wondered, wow, how did I get here?
yep. And
Yep.
that, and people think, oh, it's, I mean, I lived in the South for a while, and people would be like, it's from the devil. And I'd say it is a God given thing. It's just the opposite. Your mind is so beautiful and so amazing. And
Yeah.
hypnosis is just one way that you can tap into and really free yourself. And the thing I think people don't realize is I never say I'm hypnotizing people, I'm kind of dehypnotizing because
Ah,
your problem is we all believe whatever we've been told, everything that goes in from commercials, from magazines, from people making fun of us at school to jobs. It doesn't go smooth for anybody.
yeah.
All that stuff goes in there, and subconsciously you believe it. You might believe you're not good enough if you grew up hearing that a few 100,000 times, even if it was just teasing you by brothers and sisters. It
Right,
gets
right.
in there.
So the guy holding the watch making you cluck like a chicken isn't is that's not really real?
It's not real in the sense that it's two absolutely different things. That I'm a clinical hip. There's a lot of interaction, like you and I are talking. A stage hypnotist, they get people to cluck and bark and all that stuff, but it's a willingness. The person at the stage show is going there. They know this is going to happen. It's usually college kids or high school kids. You'll see my friend Dan Candell, he's also one of my mentors. He does a lot of stage shows. The
Mm,
all hypnosis is self hypnosis. So if you go somewhere and you're like, I'm going to have the most fun on stage, and when the guy tells me I'm past, you go along with it.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that's what's happening. So, but now you could not make a person do something they didn't want to do. You could
Oh,
not be up there saying, okay, bark like a dog. You might get the guy barking and clucking and walking around. But then when you say go rob a bank, he's going to like, what did you just, no.
right, right.
You are not controlling a person. You are actually teaching people how to control their own mind.
Oh, interesting.
Because
Okay.
how many times all of us, you'll have a negative thought process, something will happen, you'll be dating someone, they don't call you, it's like, oh, if I look better, if I you start having this self-talk.
Right.
You know, I teach people that that doesn't mean it's real. Just because you're thinking it does not mean it's an honest, true, correct, real thought. It's just a thought you had, and you can grab that thought immediately and go, wait a
Okay.
minute, this doesn't
So,
feel good, but maybe I dodged a bullet. I want to be with someone that wants to be with me.
right.
You know,
Right.
you can start right away shifting so you don't go into depression or woe is me. I teach people how to reframe their
Okay.
thoughts.
Yeah, that's interesting because I noticed that in the preamble, the introduction, that NLP is part of your lexicon and part of the process. And I remember as a young man, I studied a little bit of NLP while I was in college. It's an interesting study.
Yeah, our
Um,
minds are so amazing. I use multiple techniques. So I might, even with some people, I can do almost a light hypnosis, which is not much different than what we're doing now. You might
well,
just be leaning back and relaxing.
well, isn't that one of the biggest fears that people have?
Yes,
Is that they're going to lose control?
yes,
But in
yes.
reality, that's not the
You
case.
cannot. You cannot. I mean, it's no, it really is no different than what we're doing right now. But maybe I would have you, like, if this was a session, I would talk a little slower, maybe calm my voice a little. I would
Hmm.
just get you in a more relaxed state so that you're interested in what I'm saying. That's basically all it is. If you're at a lecture or people at a concert, when you're at it, you're there, you're listening to the music, you're hypnotized by that band, you're
Oh,
taking in.
interesting.
That's all it is. And I mean, if people have ever gone to a yoga class and you lay down at the end of yoga class, and sometimes the teacher goes, just relax all those muscles, picture yourself in nature, and you kind of let yourself drift into, that's hypnosis. But then when she says, okay, coming back into your body now, that was it. It's not anything more dramatic than that. We just have techniques while you're in there, and the
Sure,
way we talk to you and do things that are the clinical part.
sure. So, let me ask you this: what exactly is happening in the brain when someone is hypnotized? What is changing? What is it? What is it actually doing? What does that mean?
Okay, gave myself some notes because I get so excited I can go up.
That's
So
okay.
the brain has two main operating systems: the
Okay.
conscious mind, which is analytical and critical, and
Okay.
the subconscious mind, which is where habits, emotional responses, beliefs, and deep patterns live. So a
Okay.
lot of times we
So
don't.
is that where the change is coming
Yes,
from the
yes,
deep patterns?
yes, and yes, and you have to understand, a lot of times when we remember something, that's why eyewitness stuff is so, you can't use it and it's often wrong. We remember our perception of things. That's why two people can see the same thing and it's
Have
different.
come. Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
we get into the subconscious and work with the perception of the event. So in everyday waking life, the conscious mind acts as a gatekeeper. It filters, evaluates, and often rejects new information, even if it's helpful information.
So
That's why
is
you
this
can't just say to yourself, if you're terrified, you can't go, calm down, calm down, calm down. You
right?
can get yourself to calm down, and I have techniques, but it's not just a talking thing. Like, you have to believe you're out of danger, you have to have some evidence.
So does this also because you just said that two people can look at the same thing and see something different. So let's pull this into real life, and I'm going to expose myself. So is this why my little brothers may not have seen what I saw in a family dynamic.
Absolutely.
The trauma that one of my brothers experienced versus a trauma that I experienced, and the three of us didn't see or didn't process that information the same way. Is that
Absolutely.
okay?
Absolutely. And then there's different reasons why some would block parts out. There's more going on. Like, I am not a therapist. I do not
Right.
diagnose, but yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's like whatever's going on with people. I mean, you see it in our politics now. You can see the same thing, and everyone's like, it didn't happen that way. And it can be all our beliefs, and beliefs, even when they're wrong, they will gatekeep, and you will have what is going on, you will make it fit into your perception. So if you think you're not worthy, if you can't handle it, you're kind of stupid. And this is all in the background, you might not even
Right.
know. Or you're
Right.
worthy of a romantic partner that would treat you right. People say I attract the same type of person. It's a
Yes.
subconscious pattern, because you think that's all. Your brain is like, okay, you think that's what you need and want, we're going to set you up with that. And maybe being in a different relationship that was healthy, that can feel very uncomfortable, because
Interesting.
so when we go in with hypnosis and we start building new neural pathways, and you start looking at things and changing, you're more suited for a healthy relationship now. You understand it, and you can be more comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's exactly why our perceptions color everything.
Well,
And
it's interesting that you say that because uh, I noticed a post that you had put on LinkedIn a week or so ago, uh, and I I thought the title was kind of interesting because it threw me. Is this your dirty little secret? Is the title to the post? And uh, before we started, I asked you about that, and this is a an area of your one of your specialties is anxiety. Do you want to give us a little bit of you know specific situations that
I mean,
have that you've come across?
well, this is a very common one, unfortunately, but you will see all these bankers, policemen, doctors, and everyone, they're trained, everything. They're under such immense pressure all the time. And if you're in sales, real estate, anything, you're only as good as your last sale. You got to keep it going. You're never like, oh, I'm done. So even if you're total professional, you have it covered, you've got so much on your plate, and deals fall through. You have politics at work, you have kids and husbands and wives and illnesses. People are holding it together. And I found, when you're so stressed out that you feel like you're going to snap, it can come out in some real unhealthy ways. You can have one too many cocktails to relax. Maybe you smoke a little, cannabis, and then it starts to creep in, maybe all during the day to relax. There's a lot of things that can start, or you fight with your partner or your kids a lot, you're snapping.
Right.
These things manifest in unhealthy ways. And
So so how does the hypnosis or why? But why does the hypnosis work, and what is the mechanism that's taking place
so
when
what
you're
happens is, when we get you in hypnosis, in this relaxed, but very, I almost call it like being in the zone, like an athlete.
okay?
They're just in the zone, but very relaxed, very, um, your gatekeeper relaxes, your conscious mind, the arguing, I got to get the kids to the doctor, I got to pay the mortgage, I got to, whatever, that relaxes. And the subconscious becomes directly accessible. That's why
Ah,
6 hypnotherapy sessions are equal to 600 talk therapy sessions. Talk therapy works, but you got to keep getting past the gatekeeper. So, don't go back home to that guy you're living with that punches you in the nose. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Next, you shouldn't go, he punches you in the nose. Yeah, you're right. And it takes a long time before that person finally gets in there. Yeah, maybe I am worth more than being punched in the nose. When I go in Hypnotherapy, it gets in there where they feel
Right.
it, they believe
Right.
it, it starts to not work for them. And that's why hypnosis can produce change that years of conscious effort couldn't. You're working with the part of the mind that actually runs the programming.
Well,
That's the big difference.
it's interesting that you say that, because I just a thought popped into my head. Um, Early in my career, in the early 80s through the early 90s, about 10 or so years, I volunteered on a local fire department. I was an EMT,
Mm-hmm.
and I I remember you started to put me back, and remembering that it was almost uh, there was it was interesting when I approached an accident, and that there was, obviously there's people who are in a car wreck, and it just, you kind of got in a zone,
Mm-hmm.
and you weren't really thinking. You just knew that you had to do A, B, C, and
Yep.
you had to do it this way. And I it brought me back when you started talking about that, which I think is, I guess, when I think about those events, it's very similar to being in a hypnotic state, I
That
guess.
it's exactly it. You were focused, controlled. Your subconscious kicked in with all your training. You knew what to do. You weren't going, okay, I'm going to get the bandage out, and then I'm going to wrap it clockwise, and then after three, right, you're not, you know what to do. It's in there. And
Right.
that's kind of the same thing. It is kind of brainwashing, but with nothing but positivity, to where I
Interesting.
take it like this sometimes when I'm talking to people. I think of a huge park that you can't even see the end of, and it's a
Right.
brand new park with like a meadow of lush green grass never been
Okay.
walked on.
Okay.
Your little tiny baby, this is your mind. That park is going to be your mind. The baby crawls out, pick it up. So maybe, you said, somebody yelled at the baby, it walked out. It didn't really mess up the grass much. But let's say that baby is in an abusive home and been told you're ugly, you're stupid. It's walking out on that path. Over years, it's going to become a path, a trail. It'll get
Aha.
wider with more. Now you're making hundreds of thousands of trails and paths with everything. So the ones that don't get repeated, the ones that aren't that big of a deal, they kind of fade. They don't really bend the grass much. The ones you hear over and over start getting deeper. The ones that really get wired in, they're like super highways. So I always tell my clients, you built these super highways, and it doesn't mean you did it with the correct
Right.
information. You could be
Oh.
with shame, with guilt, with being told you're stupid, you're fat, you're going to grow up just like Aunt Sally and be whatever. All this stuff goes in. And if you take enough of it, so now you've got these super highways and roads. Pretend your actions are like a little toy car.
Right.
So you're in there, something happens to trigger you. That little car is going to go on the path of least resistance. It's going to go on the path you use the most. So if you're
Okay.
get told
Okay.
off at work, you're going to go grab a bottle of alcohol like your dad did, if that's your go to, or you're going to go
Right.
out and maybe sleep around and come, or you're going to, these bad habits, cigarettes, whatever we do over and over because that's the only place our little car has to go. I
Right.
give you new neural pathways, new roads.
Interesting.
And as you stop using the I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, this happened to me, I can't, those, just like our infrastructure in real life, starts to break down, starts the weeds grow over it. It's still there, but it'll get less. And the new pathways you strengthen. So now you go out on a date and the guy's a little bit a red flag. you don't have that old pathway. Well, that's what I deserve anyway, and blah blah
Right.
blah. Your
Right.
new pathway is like, no, 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 no. I'm
Nah,
fine.
not for
And
me.
not for me. And it's you're a different person now because you have a new place to go.
Well,
You
it's interesting because the next question I have for you, I think you already just answered it. I think. Um, I was going to ask you to give me an example of how you'd walk through a session. Uh, um, I, maybe what you just shared was the result of it. So
that's what
let's back up. Let me ask you this: walk me through what a session might feel like to someone who's never done this before.
um okay. Um I won't take you into a session, but I'll take you into the pre-session.
Okay.
So, okay, so just get comfortable right now where you are. Just raise your shoulders and let them drop. And if you have a back on your chair, go ahead and lean on it. Just be comfortable. I
Okay.
want you to take 3 deep breaths and hold at the top for just 3, 4 seconds and let out gently. So just gently, real gently, just let the and then I would just start speaking to you slowly, calmly. Why don't you close your eyes and just pretend you're standing under a waterfall of relaxation, just light love and energy, and it's washing over you. And you feel this warm, soothing, safe energy from the top of your head going down around the back of your head, your neck. It's flowing over your shoulders, just releasing any tension, all those big muscles in your back, just releasing, letting go. Let that energy go down your arms, out your hands.
That's a nice
Just
place.
and so and that I would continue through your
Right.
body, down your legs, out your feet, and then I would take you through a little bit. It doesn't make sense like when we're talking like this, but when you're in hypnosis, and I would just
Sure.
maybe have you, take your say self to your favorite place in nature, and maybe and then I would just have you like slightly nod your head, and it can be made up, a place you've been, you want to go, it doesn't matter, you can't do hypnosis wrong,
Sure.
so unless you won't pay attention, and then I'm just like, you
Oh,
know
there's many people in my life that
yeah,
would
yeah,
say that I haven't paid attention, so I
and then
might fall into that.
just have you walk along. A lot of people like to be at the beach, so feel the warm sand on your feet, between your toes. You see a blue turquoise ocean. And the reason we start mentioning colors and feel is because we're activating that part of your brain. It's no different than when an athlete pretends to practice their tennis strokes or their
Mhm.
batting. They're actually your brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality. You
Oh,
can
interesting.
It just doesn't know. And you always need to talk to your brain in the positive. You can't say I don't want to be stressed out. You have to say I am calm. Your brain doesn't know
Okay.
negative. So that's why they tell you you are what you focus on, and worry is a prayer for what you don't want.
Yeah, and that's where the NLP comes in, right? I
Right.
mean, the neuro linguistic programming is if I remember my studies correct, correct me if I'm wrong, is the lexicon is the language that we use to communicate with both sides of the mind, uh, the conscious and the unconscious. But the NLP is the types of words that are used
Yes, and in the order. And
and
that's
in
why,
order.
yeah, that's why working with Dr. Helmstetter, he wrote that book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And it is a self talk, because I found his work and I thought, well, I'm going to do weight loss, because I thought
Mhm.
you can't fake weight loss. You can fake being happy. You can say, well, I felt a little better afterwards. And
Right?
then because you go to a Tony Robbins thing and you feel great afterwards, and then a month later you're like, I need to go again. And I thought, I can't fake weight though. If I either lose it or I don't. So I did his program, listened to it, and it's
Hmm.
just self-talk tapes, and I lost like 20 pounds, and I didn't realize it. And I went, I mean, I didn't realize it as it was happening.
Right.
I used to go to Jack in the Box all the time. I lived in California at the time. And I remember one day I'm driving by Jack in the Box and I'm like, oh, going to turn in just like Pavlov's dog. And
Right.
all of a sudden I saw in my mind the little taco with the little orange pot of oil and grease. And all of a sudden I remembered how I felt after my curly fries. And I went home and I made lunch and I still didn't think about it. And then all of a sudden I went, oh, I have
Okay.
changed what appeals to me.
You've
And
changed that path.
I just, and so then I was still having trouble doing the self talk, you know,
Hmm.
like I'm just a person too. I get it. We're lazy. We just won't do it. And so I started combining hypnosis and giving self talk in the in between meetings and what people could listen to, like on the way to work, on the way to school. You just have
Right.
10,
Right.
15 minutes. And it was a game changer between the hypnosis and those programs, and then the self talk to wire it in even faster. It became a game changer.
Would you be open to sharing some of your results? For example, like you say, you've worked with vets. That's a very, at least those vets that I know that had been in country and have come home, um, very traumatic. Do
Very.
you? Yeah, it our warriors, as much as we thank them for their service, we can't thank them enough for what they've lost as a result of what they experienced. Um, can you share a little bit about
Yeah.
some of them?
We had a friend in Florida, living in Florida at the time, and this person was a wounded warrior, special ops, an amazing guy, um, but drinking a little too much
Yeah,
and having a lot of trouble leaving the VA, a lot of trouble sleeping at night, just couldn't close his eyes, couldn't had a lot of trouble in therapy because as you know in traditional talk therapy they ask you to talk about what happened.
sure.
I Therapy is wonderful. In my world, we do not talk about what happened. If you remember what happened, I don't need to know. In my world, that's just laying another layer of cement on that path. We
Hmm.
want to start degrading that path. So you don't ignore it. What I do with people that have high levels of trauma, rapes, kidnappings, wounded warriors. I do a form of timeline. And
Hmm.
what that allows them to do is just, and it's made up like everything, it's all in our head. So I just say, wherever your timeline is, if the uh, future is out in front of you and the past is behind you, if it's a spiral, if it's an L, doesn't matter. You just make up your timeline. It's just a way we can go in a linear fashion. So you're not like, oh, I'm 70, oh, I'm
Right.
16, oh, I'm 9, oh, we'll just not skip around. So I tell them, and we do it in order, go to the earliest place you can remember being angry. For example, we do anger, sadness, guilt,
Right.
hurt. We do the negatives, the depression, and I have a
The
technique.
emotion, the
Yeah,
emotion, the thought, the
because
action.
it's trapped in them. When you have
Right.
negative emotions, it's actually physically, it's how you get ulcers, all kinds of problems. So I would tell him, you don't need to tell me anything. Go up, and like sometimes the very first memory is like his first memory was he accidentally let his new puppy out and his dad was mad at him for being irresponsible and he would not help him go look for it. And he's a little kid, it was traumatic, just let, and so
Sure.
he was angry. And so we went over that. Then I asked, he's above it, so he does not have to relive it. It's like he's watching somebody else in a
Else.
movie. And when you're in
Okay.
hypnosis and doing that, it's an extremely safe place. So, and then we just go, and I have a special techniques and questions, and we talk, and he's able to let these things go. And by the time we're done with the sessions, it's like this happened for me, not to me.
To me.
And
Ah,
it
interesting.
is one of the only ways I've found that can get people to do a switch. Like I had a woman, she was in her 70s when she came to me. I had done her son, and he said, my mom could use you. She grew up in South America. She was sold by her dad and her brothers. They would get
Yeah.
their cars worked on and they would give her as pain. Horrible story. And so she married this guy. He was abusive too. He took two of her kids, came to California, left her with one because he knew if he had the kids, she'd come and wouldn't leave him. She came through Mexico, got arrested. This was, I mean, 30 years ago, and she had to sleep with all the guards to get food for her kids while she was incarcerated. And she finally got, I mean, it was just horrible. And
Mm,
she then, we were doing the therapy, and she was telling me about this gang situation she was in. And I
right.
said, well, what did you learn from it? And boy, she snapped her eyes open and was furious. She goes, I was gang raped. What do you think I could learn? And I said, well, you're you came here, you own three homes, you started two successful businesses, you have daughters, granddaughters, and great granddaughters and nieces. How many of your anyone in your family has ever been abused by a male? She said, not one. And I said, why? She goes, I knew what to look for. She goes, not one daughter or son ever was left in a position. And I said, you stopped three generations of abuse. When she realized what she had been strong enough to
Hmm.
do,
Hmm.
you could not stop this woman. And she ended up buying an RV, sold one of her homes, and her husband are traveling into their 80s, and I still get postcards. And she's like, yeah. And there was Audie Murphy. There was a war hero back in the day. I didn't
Yep.
really, she said, he's got nothing on me. And I didn't know who he was. And she said, these people come back and they've from war and they were heroes because they've gotten through it. And she goes, that's me. And that just, this woman's life was from living inside of a shell to becoming like, I'm unstoppable. And
Mm.
you know, and that other girl who was in Cocoa Beach, she was amazing. She had one of the most tragic upbringings. I don't even know how she made it. She would call me. She never went without a panic attack. And our 3-month program took almost a year to get through because she couldn't quit crying in every session, just
Oh,
had
wow.
so much stored up.
So
So
much trauma.
we'd
Yeah.
take a break and we'd go back and keep working. And she would call me and she'd go, I've been in the parking lot of the Publix here in Florida for 3 hours. I can't quit crying. I can't drive home. Now she goes, I can't even answer emails at work. She went from that to taking over the building next door and expanding her business, and she's doing great. And
Mm.
she also came up with, I almost want to thank those people. She goes, I never realized how strong I am. She goes, I've endured everything. You
Hmm.
know, she goes, and I've and flourished. And that is a wonderful thing to recognize.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Wow. That's amazing.
yeah, and that's
That is amazing.
it's like it makes me high. Like
Yeah.
when I see people, and I had a young girl who would just, she was so beautiful and just date one loser after another. And I told her, when you get to the place we're going to get you, you're not even going to be angry at these guys. You're going to be bored. And she called me about a year later and she said, I was out to dinner. This guy was being a jerk. And she goes, I'm there. She goes, I wasn't even upset. I called Uber and I was just rolled my eyes and left. Like, so different, you know?
Is is there a um I guess this question, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, probably is immaterial, but is there a time frame? Do you have an expectation of you as the practitioner? Um, do you have an expectation of what you hope to see from a
Oh,
client
oh
and
yeah,
how? Okay.
absolutely. I don't, it's not like, okay, good luck. I mean, in my real heavy trauma, we actually, in the first session, I get a list from the person and I say, pretend like I have a magic wand and this is just going to work. What will your life look like? And I'm going to have
Okay.
people say, I'm going to be gardening again. I'm going to be reading for pleasure again. I'm going to go out with my friends again. I'm going to teach Taekwondo. They have a list. And then when we're done, we check off how many of those things, and it's
I
usually
see.
a good 80 to 90%. I can't do I want to get married and stuff because we're not together usually long enough for that. But yeah, and I have found that people see a shift in the first 2 to 3 sessions. It's not like you have to do it for months and then we hope something happened.
Right. So let me kind of way back up. What brought you to this awareness? What brought you to doing this work?
I'm
What was it in
a,
you?
a mess. I same thing, always repeating the same. I'll tell you, I call it my dried fruit is what changed my life. I had a woman that I just admired and I wanted to work with, and she picked me out of a group and come work with me. I didn't even ask her what's the pay, what's the job, nothing. I thought so. Then I find out she wanted me to help rearrange her garage. And I thought this was years ago when I was first learning all these modalities, and she was a
Right.
master. So I thought she was going to take me in and I would shadow her. She wanted me to rearrange her garage. So then I was so lack self-awareness. I did it because I thought, oh, I want her to keep me in her group. So when done, she goes, I've got the best thing for you in the whole world. And she took me to this place. She goes, stay in the car and bring it out to you. And she brings me this bag and hands it to me. And it's 2 packages of dried mangoes. And
Okay.
I exactly. So anyway, it didn't work out. But then years later, I had another business partner and I'm getting together, and of course I let them kind of run over me. I was still that same person who was didn't think I was good enough. No, let
Right.
this person. So I had just killed myself while they went on vacation for 3 months and I'm running the whole thing alone. He brings me back from his vacation a big bag of dried apricots. So all of a sudden I went, it's not her and it's not him and it hasn't been everyone else. It's me. And I realized I did not have the self-esteem. I should have said, what are the work hours? What is the pay? What is this? When you go, what's my vacation? All these things that I was afraid and made myself small. And I think the universe, God, whatever powers that be, they knew that I would not have put two and two together unless they gave me 2 bags of dried fruit, because who gets dried fruit? So I went, this is me. I've got to say what I mean what I say, speak up and change. And that's when I found Dr. Helmstedter's book. I just thought I got it.
Interesting.
Everyone said, be positive, have self esteem. And I thought, how? It's not in here. I
Right.
don't
Right.
feel that it's a lot. I would could be ballsy, but it still wouldn't be real. And that's when
Interesting.
I learned, I thought it has to get in here where it actually is how I believe and think. And that's where the shift came.
Interesting. So let me pivot a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled up some stuff on your LinkedIn profile, and uh, it's interesting. 90% of the things I worry about never happen. Worrying works.
That's sarcastic.
Yeah. No. 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 I what is it about that makes this real?
Well, here's the thing. And I think Mark Twain said it, 90% of the things we worry about never happen. So that
Correct.
is a good lesson, hypnosis or not. Most things kind of pan out, most things don't happen. So you don't need to spend your life in constant fear. And worrying, like why that is so sarcastic, worrying doesn't work. It's actually just the opposite. When you worry and you stay stuck in a problem,
Hmm.
it's very difficult for the solution to download. When you're not worried, you can be concerned and it can be on your mind, but that's different from fretting and being worried. You're
Hmm.
allowing all the downloads from the universe. It's like, I call it jumping to a solution. Your mind is clear and open. So I've got that mortgage due. Oh, and I just lost that client. You can either panic or you can be like, let's jump to a solution.
So this is a
Let's jump to
solution,
a solution. And so I kind of did that. It was a little coaster I saw when I was out, and I thought most of us think like that, though. We're going to
right?
worry, 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 and it didn't happen anyway. We have to realize, just like I teach my clients, you got through 100% of everything you've gone through.
Right.
Even if
Right.
it's been a death, you've gotten through it.
So, uh, throwing this out there, how do you know? How do you know when it's done? When you're gone? When it's gone? When it's better? When it's okay? How do they know?
Oh, yeah, I get told that all the time. They're like, I had someone call me once. What did she say? She goes, I used to ruminate in these conversations with, I don't know, her mother, her sister, whatever it was.
Right.
And she goes, I'm having trouble calling it up now. I I have so much space in the day. I'm not sitting there angry about past stuff. I find myself, I just don't think about it. So that's
All
one way.
it's all of a sudden,
It
like
and
you just
well, it's so weird because I can't tell you how many people I've talked to and they said, I don't think it really worked. I just stopped doing it at the same time. And I mean, we hear Dan and I,
yeah.
my
Right.
mentor, we were talking about that. He said, yeah, I had a smoker say, I don't think it worked. I just decided to not quit after I got home. And 40 years he smoked, but so they know it because, like the guy who wanted to teach taekwondo, he
Right.
was doing it. He could get out of bed now. The mother that I had, Terry, she was couldn't get out of her bed. She couldn't even change her cat's litter. They know because now she's taking her kids to the little league games. She's going. You just start doing it. You just, all of a sudden, you can eat, or you find, like, I drove by Jack in the Box. I didn't
Right.
want. That's how, all of a sudden, it's very subtle. It's just a minor little change, and things are working better.
So let me ask you this: how is it that the subconscious is sabotaging? What is it?
It's trying to keep you safe. All your mind
Ah,
not made to make you happy. Your brain is built to keep you safe. So I'll tell you another
aha,
story to illustrate this. I had a guy who had not left his home in 8 years, agoraphobia, because he was in
right.
a horrible car accident. So you have that amygdala, in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of your brain. And I always
Yep.
picture it like Mr. Peanut, but it's Mr. Almond.
Yep.
And I always tell my clients that is designed to keep you safe, but it's got the same sensibilities as a 3 or 4 year old. So it's not going to give you the best advice. So my
Aha.
client got in a car accident. His subconscious was like, we got to be safe. We're not ever going to go through that again. His amygdala says, I know how we'll be safe. Just don't leave the house.
Right.
True, but that's not the best solution.
Right.
So I do something called parts therapy, where we pretend like that little almond shaped thing is its own individual part in you, and then we integrate it. So we
Oh,
all wake up with like I
interesting.
used to wake up with horrible anxiety. I would wake up, and it gets to be a habit. It's
Sure.
nothing happened, it's just a habit. So I went through parts therapy, and it was like, okay. And now when that happens, I can literally go, oh, okay. And you look around to make sure that the house isn't on, you're not, there's no real emergency. And then you go, okay, amygdala, thank you. Thank you for keeping me safe. That is your job. I can handle it from here. And I'm telling you, it'll calm down after you practice silly little things like that. It
Mm-hmm.
works because your brain
Interesting.
is like, I'm going to keep you safe. And you're telling this part of you, you're doing a wonderful job, but I've got it now. And it really will relax. I have like hundreds of little on the spot techniques that people can do in a business meeting, driving, take 10 seconds, regulate you.
And
You know, that
shift
on,
that energy
yeah, just
right there at
shift
that point.
that energy. I have a switching pattern, and I had a couple of clients send me T-shirts that said I'm a switchaholic, and it's so simple. When you start getting that very unpleasant thought or a negative thought, you know, like I'm not going to get this account. I know I'm not here. They didn't call back yet. Switch, and that shuts it off. And you can
Right.
go, maybe I'll get this account. Maybe I won't. I'm going to do my best, and there'll be one right behind it,
So
and you can stop that pattern.
yeah. So let me ask you this. Then why? What is it about hypnotherapy and that that seems to work where traditional therapy stalls out with certain people?
Well, it's the same thing we talked about, where the conscious mind will always argue, because
Ah,
even when you're in a relation, let's say you're in a really toxic, abusive relationship,
okay.
we all can look at that and say you shouldn't be in that, you should get out. But let's say your fear center is being alone. Let's say your religion, your family, you need to be married, we don't get a divorce in this family, that shame. You don't know what's a bigger shame to a person. I would think being beat up would be worse than being embarrassed that I'm divorced, but it's not always.
Right.
So whatever is happening, even if it's negative, it's trying to keep you safe. That's how you can explain a heroin addict. If one time they shot up and all their perceived problems melted away,
Right.
all the brain knows now is that felt
That's
great
what
and
it
it
did.
protected me from that.
And
It's
that's how I
not,
want to fix it.
and it's not logical, it's actually stupid, but that's not how our minds are, not user friendly. That's
Right.
another thing I teach how to we so you're just gonna, even if you're even a person who is a horrible person, a rapist even, their higher purpose for them is to be in control and feel like they have some control. It's a safety mechanism for them. It's horrible, it's wrong, there's no excuse for it, but our minds work like whatever makes that person feel safe and better is what they're going to do until they have new off ramps and
Right.
on ramps.
Right.
That's why, so when you talk about it, when like people were saying, "Oh, you're a pretty young girl, you'll meet," if I didn't feel that way, it didn't matter who said it, I still didn't feel it.
Correct.
It's different when you feel it and you walk in with that confidence. There's just something. That's why the subconscious is so powerful. And again, we mentioned that it's running on programs that it didn't even install.
Right. Right.
It's
It
running
did.
your priest, your dad, your uncle, the kids that made fun of you, looking like a Kardashian is what you want, you know, inundated. And you don't even really know what's actually in there sometimes.
Interesting.
And that's what,
Oh,
yeah, it's really fascinating.
oh, Alexandra, you are amazing. I am just so tickled that we found each other. This
I am too,
interview.
and really appreciate you giving this amazing modality um, a chance to be heard, because so many people poo poo it and stuff. And it is, I've just seen it change lives
Yeah.
and help people. And it's just another wonderful tool we can, and it's a good adjunct therapy. You don't have to stop therapy, you don't have to
Right.
stop any
Right.
treatment. It's a
Right.
mindset.
It's meant to cohabitate with
Absolutely.
all different forms of treatment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I just want to thank you so much. We didn't even have time for a commercial.
Oh, see, that's why I made notes, because if this is my passion and you even say the word hypnosis, I'm gone. I'm off to the races. All right. Well, I thank you so
Oh,
much.
Well, I want to say if you want to get a hold of Alexandra, you can see on the ticker, there's her website, heal.me at HypnoFit.
No,
And
it's heal.me/hypnofit.
yeah, slash HypnoFit. It's
Yeah.
correct on the ticker
Yeah.
there. That's the website. It was a wonderful website. And you can also call her direct at 541 525 3044. That's her office number. And you can email her also at alexcallner3 at gmail.com. Uh, Please reach out and get a hold of Alexandra. She's she's just a joy to chat with. I really appreciated our pre stuff, getting ready for the show, and it's been a great pleasure meeting you. And I'm just overwhelmed. And this will be reproduced on YouTube as well. Let me do a quick amble of that. Where are we? Where's YouTube? Right there. And you can see us on YouTube, uh, youtube.com/ at LCWC hyphen for wellness. Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure I'll talk to you again soon.
Oh, definitely. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye.
Well, that was amazing. Like I said, I didn't even have an opportunity to go to commercial. It's just having a conversation with her. And in fact, I knew it was going to be like that. So if you'd like to tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Next week, Mark McCann is a guest on our show. He's an author, local author, and a very big portion of a part of his recovery community from addictive recovery. Anyway, he'll be our guest next week as well. So I can't begin to thank you for your attention, your time, the questions you've asked, and we just look forward to meeting new people and growing. Don't forget on YouTube, click the like button, thumbs up, and select the subscribe so that you could be notified of our coming shows. You have a good day. Thank you so much.